You can think what you want about the new regulations of Formula One 2026, but sure, it does deliver a lot of action on the track. Is it because of the right reasons? That's another question. And I also caught myself to the thought that while I was watching the broadcast, I was thinking, do I enjoy it or no? Because sometimes the overtakes, they were just like, I don't know. I know the drivers are using the word artificial, and sometimes it felt to me like that also, because you're in the main straight and the car is just passing you like it's another category basically. And it got me wondering in some cases. But then, for example, the fights between two equal cars, as we saw on the track today, between, as an example, Ferraris, they were very entertaining. The same I can say also about Haas fight with Alpine. They are not the same team, and they are not even powered by the same power unit, but the fight was interesting. They are very, let's say, equally paced cars at the moment, so it's entertaining. And what is the reason that I'm watching Formula One is, well, definitely one big reason is the entertainment. I like to be entertained. I like to watch it, so I enjoy it. So overall, this little intro about this race and my thoughts about this race is that overall, you can say what you want about these new regulations, but I enjoy it. I would enjoy it even more if Ferrari were on the same pace as Mercedes, but we can't wish for everything, right? So, but that's the thing that we can discuss, and we can of course think about. So, without further ado, let's discuss the result and let's discuss what exactly happened in the race. And before I get to the results, we have to start, let's say, with the unfortunate thing what happened with McLaren. And this is the first time in my, let's say, knowledge or in my history of Formula One that I remember something like this happening. The two cars of the same team are not starting the race. I read somewhere in internet that the last time this happened was 1983, so this was way before my time. Anyways, we have seen that now also. So both McLarens did not start the race, and the reason were separate electrical issues with the power unit. And what I read this very, let's say, a couple of hours ago, and there is news that McLaren, apparently together with Mercedes, have launched an investigation with engine supplier Mercedes to investigate why both its cars suffered terminal electrical faults that ruled them out of Chinese Grand Prix. So apparently Mercedes is also involved in this now, and it is unusual that both cars are not starting the race, and this was let's say shocking to see in some ways. So yeah, I mean, new regulations, new engines, new everything, so you kind of understand it. On the other hand, this should not happen. Let's face it, this should not happen, and it's a disaster for McLaren. I know that they are not at the moment in the fight for championship, but still, I mean, it's a huge blow. It's a huge blow, and a lot of points lost today. Then also Gabriel Bortoleto did not start, and Alex Albon did not start the race. So we had four cars which did not start the race, which is also very unusual to see. Williams had an hydraulic issue, and Bortoleto said that in the post-race interview, or well, his not happened race interview, he said that there was a technical issue, and apparently it's a mechanical or electrical issue also. So yeah, this is interesting. And then also in the race, three more DNFs. Lance Stroll, just the car shut down, and that's it. Fernando Alonso did not finish the race because he had to retire because, as he explained himself, he could physically not continue. He was starting to lose feel in hands and feet. So this is what Aston Martin came out before, I believe, Australia. They said that they cannot run the cars more than 25 or whatever laps because there could be permanent nerve damage to the drivers. And apparently this is what happened today with Alonso. And then the last DNF was also from Verstappen. But Verstappen had... he's not happy at all. He's just frustrated with everything. And yes, his car is also not great because he had a bad start. He just fell back. I don't know where, P20 or whatever again. No, he couldn't be P20 because there were only 18 cars starting. So anyways, let's assume he dropped back to P18. And just the start was awful. Then he managed to climb back a little bit because he was on soft tires. But then the safety car came after he had pitted, and then he was on hards. But everybody else was sort of half free pit stop. So again, he was on the back foot. He managed to fight back to, I don't remember, what was it, P something 10, well, something around those numbers. And then he had to retire the car because of some coolant issue or something like that. So yeah, also for Red Bull, this is not looking great, but yeah. So looking at the results, so these were the DNFs and DNSs, what happened. But if we look at the results, so here's the full table from P1 to 15, because only 15 cars finished, and might as well start with Cadillac, who finally managed to finish the race with both cars. Yes, one lap down, and they were pretty much dead last. They had a collision between themselves. So eventful race for them, but eventually they got their goal. They finished the race with both cars. So we have to remember this is only their second race ever. So yeah, and they have managed to finish it. Then Ocon, he had a 10-second penalty because causing collision with Colapinto, I believe it was. He took the blame and he said, yes, totally my fault, and kudos to him for admitting like that. So I respect it. But yeah, 10-second penalty, and he served it during the pit stop, so he fell back and P14 eventually. Racing Bulls, as you see, one of them finished P12, second, or the first, or the upper one was P7. And Racing Bulls is kind of, I can't say that they are the surprise of this season, but they are decent. They are good. They are fighting. They are up there. They are grabbing the points when the others cannot, like for example McLaren. So and they look, let's say, I could say that they look more stable than their big team, the Red Bull, because as we know, of course, Red Bull did not finish. One of the Red Bulls did not finish the race. Both of the Racing Bulls did finish, and overall, also, if we look at Isaac Hadjar in Red Bull, yes, P8 eventually, but he had a rather scrappy race, I would say. He also spun off by himself. And as I understood, he had to manage also some issues with the car. So eventually P8, and lost a place to Racing Bull, to Liam Lawson, who was P7. One man I didn't mention was Carlos Sainz, and this is a, let's say, huge small victory for Williams, because let's face it, realistically they would not be P9. Just because their car is not fast enough, but because of a lot of DNFs and DNSs, and because of fortunate sort of circumstances with the safety car and everything. He managed to finish P9. So 2 points to Williams. So good for them. But in overall, Williams needs to improve very quickly, because at the moment they are probably third slowest car, if we consider that Cadillac and Aston Martin are pretty much dead two last teams, right? So in that sense, good or even great race from Gasly and Behrman. I said they fought on the track, so that was also great to watch. But also looking at the table, P5, P6, respectively, Behrman and Gasly. Yes, they are almost a minute down from Antonelli, and keep in mind that there was a safety car as well. So, but overall, they are there to collect the points when those big guys cannot score. Like, as I said, McLaren was not there. Probably they would be. My guess that McLaren or pure race pace would be somewhere P5, P6. So, anyways, they are not there. So somebody has to be there, and this is Behrman and Gasly. And I must say that Behrman is good. He is probably, as many are saying, he is the future of Ferrari, and he is proving himself. It's great to see and great to watch him. He's doing a great job with that Haas and scoring points and being up there, and his racecraft and how he avoided Hajar. I think it was him. Yes, it was him. He avoided Hajar in an instinct. He had to react. Then he fell back in the order, but then managed to climb up again. So the car is performing. He's performing overall very good. We can't call him rookie. This is his second season, but out of these rookies, if we put the let's say last year's rookies, if we compare, I think he's on a very high level. Of course, Kimi Antonelli is even higher, and we will discuss him, but he's in a better machinery. So, given the same machinery, who would be better, Behrman or Antonelli? I can't tell you. I'm not sure if we ever will know, but both of them are performing great. And then we come to the big top four. And before we go into the, let's say, very top, I must say that still Ferrari is superior at the race starts or race restarts. And it's a shame that they don't have the pace actually to fight the Mercedes on the pure race pace, because as you see, 25 and 28 seconds respectively from Antonelli. However, they have these glimpses of when they look great. Like, of course, race starts, they are nailing them. Hamilton P3 off the line, took lead of the race. Yes, it didn't last long. Was it the second lap or something that Antonelli took it back? And then on the restart again, they were good. Russell was not good and lost out there. But anyways, Ferraris are good, but not as good as Mercedes, unfortunately, at the moment. But I believe that, and I hope that they will develop and they will be better. One thing what I also mentioned yesterday, Ferraris are better, in my opinion, and I think the telemetry shows the same, that they are better in slow corners or in these mid or slow corners. This is where Ferraris excel. So I'm really looking forward for some races where these straights are not so big and the straight line speed is not so powerful. Of course, we're looking like Monaco is the outstanding example out of this, but probably some other places as well. We'll see how it will be not next week, but 2 weeks. Now we will have the next race, which is Japan, which does not have, let's say, as long straights. However, Japan is not also the slowest track, right? So there are these long flowing corners, and we'll see how Ferrari performs there. But generally they are better in the slower speed corners and in slower track in general. So it will be interesting to see when we come to those races and how Mercedes will look there and how Ferrari will look there. So this is exciting to see. And I must admit that the fight between between the Hamilton and Leclerc, this was also very great to watch, exhilarating to watch. And this was an interesting fight because both of these cars, they are pretty much equal, right? So it was all about tire management and pure racecraft, in my opinion. And so they both had the same power unit, the same battery deployment, and so on. So it was all about who manages those things better. When we come to the Mercedes are just a little bit quicker on the race pace in general. So Ferrari couldn't really take the fight to them. As I said, in the first lap, Lewis was leading the Grand Prix. He took the lead from Antonelli and Russell, but he could not keep it because on the straight line and this 1.2 kilometer long straight, which we have in China, in Shanghai, it's just Ferrari can't do anything with the Mercedes there. So in that sense, it's there's lost race, no options to win it. And then our two top finishers, Kimi Antonelli and George Russell. So this was Kimi's first ever Grand Prix victory in Formula One. So of course, huge congratulations to him. He drove a very solid race. Yes, he had basically one bigger mistake. This lockup in lap, I don't know, whichever it was, 52, 56, whatever, something. Towards the very end of the race, he locked up, went wide, lost around 2 seconds, but at that time he was 9 seconds clear of Russell, and then after those that mistake, the Russell closed the gap to 7 point something seconds, but he was never in danger. So even though after the race, Kimi said that he gave himself a little heart attack, and I can imagine, but overall he was very good and whole, let's say, driver in this particular weekend and the race. So great to see he was able to pull away from Russell. He was when Russell was closing in a little bit, then he added more speed. So he was controlling the race. And in such a young and unexperienced driver, to see that he is able to do that's good to see. And as many are saying, this was his first win, but definitely not his last win. So probably even in this year we will see many more races and wins from him. Is he ready to be the world champion? I would say no, not yet. He's just too immature. If he would pull it off, then this would be like the biggest, not comeback, but the biggest story of this era of new drivers. Because I think if we compare drivers, Russell and Antonelli, it's just that experience is what Russell has, and experience, this is what Kimi needs to level up in order to be there. He will have some occasional wins, I'm sure of that, and he will have his weekends, but in order to be the champion, you need to be consistent, and I don't think that Antonelli has it yet. He still needs to learn a lot, and maybe next year or 2 years from now, who knows when, but but he will win, and he will probably become world champion, given that the Mercedes or team, wherever he is, has the car to do it. But if I would have to bet it this year, I would say not ready yet. So this was about the race and the teams and the drivers, what I wanted to talk about. Then let's look at the Drivers' Championship. How does that look like after 2 races and 1 sprint race? So George Russell is leading the championship, as you see, 51 points, and Kimi Antonelli is in the second place. Then comes Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, 1 point behind, and these are the top 4 drivers who are up there. And then the next ones, as I said, Oliver Bearman performing on a high level, being able to deliver when it's necessary, and this shows also in the table. Of course, this is partly because McLaren did not start and did not have any points in this race in China, but nevertheless you have to capitalize these things, and Bearman is there. Pierre Gasly with Alpine, number 7, and then only number 8 is Max Verstappen. And we have how many? 7 drivers who do not have any points yet, and out of these, I think Ocon and probably Hülkenberg and Albon are the outliers, which I believe they should have points or should score some points soon. I'm not sure that Aston Martin or Cadillac will be able to score some points this year, but maybe some lucky race where things happen and they can get some points. We'll see. Time will tell. And the Constructors' Championship looks like this. So no surprises there. Mercedes is leading the championship, and that's only logical, of course. And then comes Ferrari and McLaren, and number 4 is Haas, which is surprising to see. Especially more surprising is that Red Bull is team number 5 at the moment, and they have the same amount of points as Racing Bulls. Of course, only two races or 2 race weekends are done, so there's still a lot to play and a lot of points to be scored. But at the moment, this is the trend, and well, as I said, Aston Martin and Cadillac, they are without any points, and it will be a miracle if they get some points this year. So pretty much that was it, what I wanted to discuss today. Great race from Antonelli. Ferrari is there, but not quite there, so they still need to improve in order to win some races. Maybe some slower tracks will bring it to them, or maybe Ferrari will find something more power. As Lewis asked in the team or in the race, during the race over the radio, he said, "I need more power," and the race engineer replied something like, "Okay," or something. I mean, like, if only there were a magical button to push and get more power, right? They already have boost mode and overtake mode, so what else you want? But no, in all seriousness, I think if Ferrari finds something, they could take the fight to Mercedes. But at the moment, Mercedes are the dominant force, and they will win, sure, a lot of races this year. So with that being said, next week we don't have a race, and then 1 week later we have Japan, and then unfortunately there will be a bigger break. Almost, I think, the whole April we will not have any races because of the cancelled races in Middle East. But yeah, still in 2 weeks Japan. So until then, thank you very much. Stay safe and bye bye.